The world's tropical region has long captivated the imagination of outsiders. Ancient philosophers imagined it as an inhospitable region of oppressive heat and pestilence. Early European explorers saw it as ripe for discovery and exploitation. Scientists have long worked to uncover its secrets, artists have been inspired by it, and it has been idealised as a paradise. And the tropics have been largely defined by the views of outsiders, views that have often shaped policies and approaches to the region that have not always been appropriate or beneficial. People have, of course, lived and thrived in the tropics for millennia. Many people continue to live on their traditional lands, working to adapt their traditional ways to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world, even as economic powerhouses have emerged elsewhere in the tropics. The global importance of the region is growing rapidly. By the end of the century, it will be home to many of the world's largest economies. It will also be home to most of the world's people. By 2040, the population of the world's tropical region will have exceeded that of the rest of the world. But perhaps more significantly, the region will be home to more than 2/3 of the world's children. For many tropical nations, this population dividend will present significant challenges, but also enormous opportunities.
Because most of the world's children will live in the tropics by 2050, we must rethink the world's priorities on aid, development, research and education.
Population and economic growth mean the region's influence is set to rise dramatically in coming decades. But the nature of this influence will depend on how the region addresses its many challenges and whether it realises its potential and opportunities.
We need a kind of a critical awareness that the tropics is the region of the world that matters most in terms of both the health of the planet, planetary health, and also the fate of humanity.
Of course, the region is not without its challenges. The resources to sustain growing populations and development are putting significant and increasing pressure on the natural environment. Poverty remains prevalent in many areas. Many nations suffer from poor health and educational outcomes, and in some cases, political and economic instability are major constraints. Despite marked improvements, significant investment in infrastructure, governance and human capacity is still required in many nations to meet the basic needs of communities and to help economies develop and flourish. When Aung San Suu Kyi launched the landmark State of the Tropics report in 2014, a new global dynamic was revealed. Arguably, the future belongs to the tropics. Decisions made now and the pathways that tropical nations take will affect the course of economics, development and the environment on a global scale for a long time to come.